I'm really excited to be here, so much so that even a government shutdown and 2 canceled flights couldn't stop me from being here today. I drove 7 hours from DC, which was actually very beautiful. Um, yeah, super excited. When I thought about what to speak with you all today, I think we all can agree. We know we're supposed to be on social media, right? You guys all know that by now. We know the stats. 84% of customers trust companies more when their founders have a personal brand. 50% of a company's reputation is based on the founder's reputation. So we know these stats, we know we need to be online. So I wanted to talk about this phrase that I'm sure you guys have all heard. Raise your hand if you've heard the phrase, build in public. Keep your hand raised if you're like, what the does that actually mean? Yeah. So today we're going to talk about that. I figured I'd start where my building in public journey began. So 6 years ago, my career was pretty up and to the right, to use some founder language. I was leading marketing at a public company. It was in the wedding tech space, the Knot, if anybody has heard of it. I was giving keynotes to thousands of people in places like Las Vegas. I was on morning television. I was on national television. That was Access Hollywood. I was pretty well known in the wedding industry. But it wasn't enough. So something happened while I was doing this job where I applied to speak on a women's empowerment panel at this huge conference for women. I was like, well, I reach millions of women every day. I run a magazine. I talk to a bunch of people. And I got turned down. I was told that I was a great fit, but I didn't have enough social influence. So I did what everybody does back in 2020 when you're really annoyed and pissed off about something. I took it to Twitter and I said, I was told recently that I couldn't moderate a panel because I didn't have enough social influence. Now, I tweeted this while getting on a plane to India because I was managing our Indian office at the time, and I didn't get on Wi-Fi. I slept the whole plane. At this time, I had about 1,000 followers. I woke up in India, got on the Wi-Fi, and saw this had been reposted 558 times, had thousands of likes, tons of comments. This post gave me 10,000 new followers. I was like, wait a second. So I decided to keep sharing. I started talking about the ups and downs of being a marketer leading a huge marketing team with 3 kids under the age of 4 and going through a divorce. I kept talking about things like how to build a brand strategy. How am I thinking about marketing? What's different? What's changing? And just a few months later, I was the fastest growing woman on Twitter. And I was invited to speak with the Twitter executive team. This is back in the Twitter days. I'm not going to call it X. And I got to speak with Jack Dorsey and the whole team about what was I doing so differently. They had never seen a woman grow on the platform that fast. And you know that company that I couldn't speak on the panel back in February of 2020, 8 months later, I was asked if I wanted to be that company's CEO. Okay, so something's working here. And I kept sharing. I kept talking about all of these things. And it led to this email in 2025. Hey, you know that company? You want to buy it? So I share all this to show the power of what it looks like to show up online. But what changed? What really changed? I started building in public. This is not just about just showing up and putting content into the world. Here's the issue. Most people think that building in public is watch me succeed and inspire and dazzle. Watch me build my products. They're so amazing. Watch me tell you what I'm doing because it's really good. This is what it actually means. Watch me learn. Help me build my products. Let's do this. Let's learn together. That's building in public. That's how you're going to get trust. I call this being a relatable hero. Both are important. Relatable, hero. So a relatable hero does three things. One, it makes you feel like you are on the journey with them. Nothing's about perfection here. We're on the journey together. So you're sharing the ups and the downs. But they still inspire you to keep showing up and keep being with them on that journey. That's the relatable hero. Ups and downs, still inspiring. How many of you watch people kind of trauma dump on social media? And you're like, okay, cool, dude. I don't know if that's inspiring me. I feel for you and I empathize. So relatable hero needs both of those parts. And I want to talk about how important this is and when you know you're doing this. So recently, I turned 40 2 weeks ago, and I shared this post where I was just like, man, I've been doing the same thing for 20 years, and I'm realizing that smack dab in the middle of my career, I'm still wanting to push myself and grow, but there's definitely things that are changing and what's lighting me up. It's not the same thing that lit me up in the first 20 years. You know you're being a relatable hero when you start to get responses like this. Man, you just verbalize what so many of us feel. Man, it's nice to not be alone. I've been trying to articulate this for so long. This is it. People feel they can see themselves in you. Let's talk about the three types of relatable heroes. And I'm curious, as you're going and hearing these, which one you feel like you are on social media. The first one is the lighthouse. Okay, let's picture a lighthouse right now. A lighthouse is this thing in the distance. It's shining, it's guiding you where you want to go, but it's still really far away. This is someone like a Sahil Bloom. Who follows Sahil Bloom on here? Anyone? No, this is the Sahil News Zone. I got to tell him this. He has millions of followers. He had a New York Times bestselling book for weeks. He's been on Huberman, Mel Robbins. He's the type of person that is a lighthouse. This is a thing he did. I cold plunged for 100 straight days. Look, I'm not getting up at 5 a.m. to cold plunge. But when my alarm goes off, I think about Sahil and I'm like, okay, he's probably in that freaking cold plunge right now. I'm going to get up and I'm going to go make my coffee and I'm going to maybe walk around the block. He's a lighthouse, kind of far away from me, but kind of guiding me where I should go. The second type of relatable hero, the flashlight. Maybe this will resonate with some of you. Think of a flashlight. If you're holding a flashlight in a room, and if the room is dark, you can't really see the person holding the flashlight, right? But you see what it's illuminating, what it's pointed at. So think about James Clear. How many of you have read Atomic Habits? Yeah. James Clear is hardly nowhere to be seen on his website, even his social media. He's constantly shining a light on things to think about. Even his little profile picture, he's like this big. He's like looking up at a mountain. He's a flashlight. He's just shining a light on things you can think about and learn. There's a woman, Chanel Basilio. I was just with her this week in DC. She's incredible. She reverse engineers what other people do to grow their creator business. She does all of these teardowns. You don't really see her that much in the content, but she's a flashlight pointing you to all of these amazing things that you can learn and experience. The third type of relatable hero, the porch light. Now, I was already corrected that this is not the Midwest, but think about a front porch in the South. This is the South? Southeast? Okay. So let's picture a porch and you got some sweet tea which I had yesterday and then couldn't fall asleep. Um, a porch is inviting people up. And when you turn on your porch light, you're like, hey, come on up onto this porch. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about what's going on in our lives. What are you learning? Here's what I'm learning. And you usually leave that porch feeling better and feeling aligned. Erica Schneider on LinkedIn, she talks about how she was having the best month. She was killing it in her business. And then she said, but I haven't figured out the magic formula yet, because killing it in my business, not so much killing it at home. Does that resonate with anybody? Feels like it's a constant, well, if this one's up, this one's down. If this one's up, this one's down. Actually what my book is all about. But she is a porch light, because one would argue she could have just said, I'm having the best month in my business, and leave it there. But instead, she went a step further and was like, I don't have the magic formula yet. And this is what got people to be like, wait, me too. And they started following her, which then grows her business. Anna Sitar just like skyrocketed on TikTok. And she did so because she was going through a breakup, and she was talking about it while she was finishing her engineering degree. That led to a multi-million-dollar podcast deal called Anna's Guide, because she was just creating Anna's Guide to Feeling Better during a breakup. So building in public is about turning on your porch lights. And we're going to learn how to do that today, okay? Wait, I've seen you do this before, Amanda. Yes, you have. So remember that company that offered me to be their CEO? I turned it down because so many doors were opening because I was growing on Twitter so fast. And this is back in 2020. I decided to launch a wellness brand. I raised a couple of $1 million from VC, and I started this wellness brand from building in public. I put this tweet out in July of 2020. Hey, I'm starting to plan this thing. If you know of anyone, this was actually a thread, so I only showed the top, but I said, if you know anyone that's really struggling to create space for working out, for pleasure, there's kids in the room, for themselves, I'd love to talk to them. And my DMs exploded. Every single person that DM'd me started getting a monthly update about my company, House of Wise. And it wasn't just talking to them. I asked them to sample the early product, to look at the logo, to look at the packaging. Is this exciting to you? What do you think we should do? That led to, on launch day, 500 women posting about House of Wise on launch day. It was everywhere. People felt like this brand came out of nowhere. But instead, I knew that I had been building with them in my porch, both figuratively and literally. This led to me being able to sell the company, a company I started just in my garage during the pandemic with 3 little kids at home. We launched in market December 2020 with over 500 wise women. Building in public, bringing people into your porch leads to success because they feel their fingerprints all over your product. They feel so emotionally invested in the success of it. I did this again. So after I sold the company, I was like, well, now I'm going to try this whole creator thing. So I started building in public. I did the road to 50K MRR. I was like, I'm going to give myself 6 months to see if I can get to 50K MRR. And every week, I gave an update on what experiments we were running, how I was doing it. Are we going to get there? How far behind am I? What new products I need to think about? I did it again with launching this book. The book came out 2 weeks ago. And I'm excited to share. It's hit the USA Today bestseller list both weeks. Thank you. Thank you. I wasn't fishing for that, but I know it would not have been as successful had I not did the same thing I've been doing every single time, building in public. People saw me in my newsletter working through some of these ideas. They saw me on my bedroom floor when I was told to cut up the entire manuscript and print it out and put it everywhere and put it back together so that it had better flow. They saw when I lost all of my edits because Adobe Acrobat, I couldn't figure it out and it just lost all my edits before I turned it in. So if you want to make people like join you and celebrate you and support you and buy from you, you have to make them feel invited. Bring them to your porch. So how do you do it? The number one question I get is, Amanda, do I have to give full access to my life? No, you do not. And I don't recommend it. You don't have to show everybody building your PowerPoint slides in your bathrobe either. That's just me. That's my personal flavor. But you do have to build a porch. Now, I know it's early. Some of you guys went out last night. So I love an acronym. So we're going to make it super easy for you to remember how to do this. P, present your reality. This is about showing the ups and downs of being a founder. People want to understand that you are going through it too, because then they feel less alone and they want to support you. This is Cindy Ramirez. She talked about, she just did this post a couple of weeks ago. It's like having the New York Health Department trying to shut us down because she had a nail salon in New York City. And then she had to pivot. And during COVID, when all the stores were shut down, this is a post where she's presenting the reality of being a founder. And that chill house is in every Target. You can go to Target and literally buy chill tips right now. She's exploded, but she did so by showing the reality of what she's had to go through. Oh, open the door. Now, you can't stand on a porch. Let's pretend the porch was a screened-in porch. You're not going to stand in the doorway and just talk at people on your lawn. You got to open the door and invite them in. This is a two-way conversation. What are you hearing from them? We're not just talking at people. So many people on social media are getting this wrong. They're just talking at people. We've forgotten that social media is literally social. This is funny. This actually, it had a video to it. And when I transferred my slides from Canva to PowerPoint, it didn't show, which is another presenting your reality meta moment. But Blogilates, this was a video of her releasing her next windbreaker. And she was like, I heard from you guys, the first one didn't have enough pockets. Like, she could have just launched Windbreaker 2.0. Instead, she was like, no, I heard from you guys. The first one didn't have enough pockets. And we're like, oh my gosh, yes. Thank you for listening. They were on the porch. She was talking to them. She went on to say, listen, to be honest, when you guys asked me to design a skirt, a swim skirt, I had no idea what you're talking about. This thing sold out because she listened to them. She's having a two-way conversation. The R is reflect, don't just report. I don't know about you guys, but my entire LinkedIn and Twitter is full of everyone crushing it. Up and to the right, up and to the right. It's just constant celebration. Okay, maybe you are killing it, but reflect on it. What are you learning? What's going well? Remember Erica? I'm killing it in my business, not so much at home. This was Blogilates, I was kind of going down a Blogilates rabbit hole. She's like, I had 6 weeks to prove to myself that I could get into Target. And she talked through the whole process. Michael Perry, he's an incredible founder. And he could have just announced that he had a new hire at his company, but instead he goes deeper and he talks about Jessica. They went to high school together and she shares She has a heart of gold and she shares this mission. Maple is an app that helps people share the weight of the household responsibility to lower the divorce rate. So you reflect on what's happening in your business and then you connect it. If you've tuned out throughout this whole thing, I know it's early, it's okay, but tune back in for this part. I'm going to give you my LinkedIn formula. It's not on a slide, so you do have to listen. Okay. Hook, story, solution, payoff. Every one of my LinkedIn posts has those 4 parts: hook, story, solution, payoff. I posted this last week. I turned 40 today, so this was on my birthday. My book was released into the world 8 years ago. I was 32 with a 4-month-old, 2-year-old, 4-year-old filing for divorce. And I talk about the story a bit. But slowly I started to make space for fun. I started to make space for health. I started to make space for pleasure. I started to make space for creativity. And that's what this book is all about. So connecting the story, this is where people are getting this wrong on social media. I'll tell you a cool story. And then you're like, what does that have to do with hiring software? You connect it back to the thing that you want them to do. I want them to buy my book. So, hook, I turned 40 today. Ooh, celebration post. Story, I was going through a divorce. Here's what's happening. Solution, here's what I learned. Solution is the meat and potatoes part. The what's in it for me. People who are reading your stuff on social media, they are selfish. They want to know what's in it for me. And then payoff. What do you actually want them to do with this information? You connect the story to the thing you want them to do. Justin Welsh, anybody follow Justin Welsh? Is this also okay, good friend of mine. He's amazing. And he's got millions of followers on social media now. He did the same thing. Nobody has it all figured out. Hook. Story. I was 38 when I started writing online. 0 followers, 0 engagement, 0 clue what I was doing. But here's what I learned. Oh, that's the solution. Here's the what's in it for you. And if you keep going, this is a pretty long post. There's a payoff. If you're like me and you're starting out nothing, I've got a free resource for you. Okay? The best people online are using this 4-part strategy. That's the conversation. That's connecting the story to the solution. And the last one is help others. This seems simple, but again, social media is about being social. Sahil, Justin, those are friends of mine because of social media. You take the conversations into the DMs, you get to know people. Take one connection you've made from this conference and start showing up and supporting each other. Say, hey, I show up every day at 8:06 on LinkedIn. I do. You want to find me at 8:06 a.m. Eastern Time, I show up on LinkedIn. If you also want to show up at 8:06 a.m., let's support each other. Let's like each other's posts. Let's engage. That's how people are growing. But that's also how you can start to get into the DMs and start to help people. With House of Wise, I remember we had somebody who was he posted that he got in a car crash and he was having a rough time and his wife was a wise woman. And so we sent them some stress gummies. He has posted more about House of Wise than anyone else because I just showed up. It's called social listening. I showed up. I saw somebody who needed help. I had a product that could help him. And you get so much EMV, earned media value, from that. I just was speaking in LA last week, and St. Brown Co., they're just a candle company, but she has made it her mission to help underprivileged founders. And so she does all of these things to help others. So building in public means building a porch. Present your reality, open the door, have conversations, reflect, don't just report. We're not an up and to the right graph isn't a bad thing, but reflect on it. Connect the story to the solution you have, and then help others. because I could leave you with just one thing. The world kind of feels really dark right now. And as founders, we all have this amazing opportunity and chance to go out and brighten up the world. So thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And I think we have time. We're going to do some questions now. So thank you.